This is going to be tough. I'm really curious. I brought this up because I just don't really know if I have a good answer for this, or I couldn't really think of anything. Is there anything Cowboys related you'll care about between now and the NFL draft? And yes, that includes free agency, because I think, damn it, I think right now my answer is no. Like, I know the combine starts February 27th. But then free agency starts the 13th of March, and a couple days before that, they have the legal tampering period, which where the Cowboys are at.
Your favorite time? Legal tampering.
I mean, where the Cowboys are at cap-wise, I feel like I don't really care that much because I don't think they're going to do anything. And so until we get to the end of April, I feel like I'm kind of indifferent.
Okay, so real quickly on the cap. It's moving up, what, 20 million to 242?
Something like that.
Okay, and then you might do something with CeeDee Lambs, and then you're rolling over 10 million, right? So you're kind of in that range of you can do something with a bunch of different contracts.
And I still think you're $11 million over the cap for now until you start flipping those switches.
And even when all those things happen, you don't think they're going to utilize that money correctly.
No, I don't. Look, I don't know if you can do anything with Zach Martin because you just don't know what the future is right there. Maybe you do something with Dak. That's the biggest piece. CeeDee Lamb, obviously you can do something with, but that only creates so much money. Let's say you flip the switch on those two players in particular, or give contract extensions to make it happen. You're probably talking about creating, I don't know, like offhand, I think it's like $17 to $20 million in salary cap space. Okay. That's not the amount of money that I think the Cowboys are going to be like, now we're in business. That's the amount of money where I think they're going to be like, well, we got to pay Micah in the future, and we got to get our draft picks. And we
can bring back these guys.
Yeah, and Hankins or whoever, whether it's Tyron, whoever you think it is. I just don't see them adding outside talent.
Yes, and that is where if you have a hole and you want to be better there, you can sign free agents. The Cowboys' approach is, why am I going to pay a guy that the other team won't pay? And we're going to overpay for the talent, for the discrepancy in talent. That's their approach. I'm not saying it's mine. I'm trying to tell you the way that I understand the Cowboys approach this. And it's frustrating, Kevin, because the way the money that we just kind of outlined, it seems like they can allot all of that money for the guys that they have and be like, sure, we're bringing back the same team. And we just discussed that we're frustrated with the Rangers they just want it all.
Yeah.
And they're like, we're kind of just going to bring back the same team. And you're like, what? And why? Now's the time to stock up. The Cowboys lost in the first round of the playoffs. They're like, might bring back the same team. So that's frustrating, and that's where, Kevin, when we start discussing this, I'm like, I'm disheartened by the whole process of the offseason right now. Maybe the draft is when I'll start being like, okay, because I won't believe anything about free agents, and I won't get excited about anything when it regards free agents either.
All right, just a quick note on the NFL front is Bucs offensive coordinator Dave Canales is going to be taking over as the Panthers head coach, per Ian Rappaport.
Was that a Dan Quinn interview?
I keep thinking about Dan Quinn only to Seattle, or he's coming back here. But that feels like a bit of a surprise right there. But they like his work with Baker Mayfield, and now perhaps you look at Bryce Young as being able to help him out. Now, you mentioned Dan Quinn. And somebody from the 817 said Dan Quinn news, ? I think I'm indifferent about that as well now, because I like Dan Quinn. I think he's done a good job here. But if he gets the Seattle job, I'm to the point where I'm like, that's fine. And if he comes back, I'm to the point where I'm like, yeah, but will your defense hold up if we fall behind? Yeah. Or will your defense hold up if you need a stop in the final 5 minutes? So Dan Quinn has done a good job here. But some of the flaws that we have seen that popped up, whether it's personnel, whether it's his scheme, whether it's whatever.
And then listening to Broadus a little bit on the game against the Packers, just kind of hearing them say, he thought he had a plan against the team, and turned out to be the wrong one.
Yes.
It just turned out to be wrong.
And so if he comes back even then, I'm like, yeah, I guess. Okay. But I'm not excited about that from the 214. If we get an extension done with our quarterback and he takes less money so we can get better players.
That's what the Cowboys do.
Okay, first of all, that is very inaccurate. The Cowboys are terrible at negotiation. But there is no way that's going to happen. And I guarantee you this. If it does, I will lead the show saying, I'm sorry, I was so wrong. Dak took less money. I can't believe it. What a selfless move. Let's rock and roll.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think that makes sense. Like, why would Dak do that?
Well, and I know, Mike, your feelings on the Players Association, but for the most part, when it comes to quarterback negotiations, they're like, no, you keep trying to get all the money that you can.
And I don't begrudge him that.
In that instance, the Cowboys, if they were trying to set themselves up, will push money down the road in certain ways so that the right now they can spend here. And that's where they're approaching. But then they don't spend. So that's where the frustration comes. Not that I need the quarterback to take less money. That's not his job.
Sure.
It's the Cowboys front office job to figure out how to get everybody involved in that situation.
And that's why I don't begrudge Dak or anybody from a struggling organization to get their money, because what makes you think, let's say that Dak Prescott did roll in and be like, you know what? $30 million a year. What has led you to believe that the Cowboys will take that, whether you think it should be $25 million from what he could have gotten or whatever, and really put it to amazing use where you're like, let's effing roll? I just don't know what you've seen to make you believe that. And to go along with that, I really like this text. And this is why I said till the draft. The draft is the only thing, not because the Cowboys will fix things. The draft is just really interesting, and y'all cover it amazingly. Thank you very much. That is a very nice compliment.
And they're dead on there.
The draft is something where I'm like, we will give it a shot, because you brought up free agency. This is the part where I am most annoyed about the Cowboys and Stephen Jones talking about talent acquisition 24/7, 365. No, it's not. Is you can make some moves in free agency, but you won't. Even if you have money, the Cowboys just fundamentally won't. And then when they did make some trades last year that we both really liked, and they both turned out, or that we all really liked, and they turned out to be good moves in picking up Brandon Cooks and Stephon Gilmore. Then when we got to the trade deadline, what were we told? Steven and Jerry literally told us on this show, well, we already made our trade deadline deals in Cooks and Gilmore. No, you didn't. Those are in the offseason. You can continue to pick up talent. That's what you say. So that is at least one reason I like the draft, is because the Cowboys care about the draft a lot. And unfortunately, in the future, sometimes they care about re-signing some of their players they drafted they shouldn't have.
Yeah, I definitely, the draft is one of the things that I get excited about, mostly because I get to see the next generation of talent coming in to the NFL. As far as the Cowboys go, that's exciting too. But you get to see, I mean, there's going to be a quarterback that lands with this franchise. Is that quarterback going to be able to help that franchise? Not all the time does the number one overall pick at quarterback go on to help that franchise become a winner. And so the draft is one of those times. Kevin, I'll add this, seeing there it just was announced, the 5 finalists for Defensive Player of the Year.
I'm assuming Micah, Watt, Garrett,
Bland.
Crosby, and Bland?
Not Bland.
Deron Bland is one of the people listed. Actually, he's the top one listed, Kevin. So
I got the 5 right.
That's
Let's
on
go.
NFL right there. So that's it's dumb, but yeah, I'm excited about an offseason award for a cornerback.
And think about how weird that is. You have 2 of the 5 candidates for Defensive Player of the Year. Yet
your
in the
defense
playoffs,
got its ass whooped.
You got smoked. If Green Bay kept playing this game like it was competitive, they could have scored 65 points on you. Maybe 62 if you prefer.
I think 2 more touchdowns.
Yeah, so 62 points. They could have put 62 points on the board.
Dak was cooking by then, though.
No.
He'd figured him out.
When you needed that stop against Miami, you couldn't get it. When you needed that stop against Detroit, I guess you kind of sort of got it. But that's the frustrating part, is because there are elements of this Cowboys deal, and I'm sure there's plenty of franchises like this, where you're like, what's the problem? We're 12-5. We made the playoffs. We're going to have the second or third person in the MVP voting, and we're going to have 2 of the top 5 Defensive Player of the Year. What is everyone complaining about?
Yeah, why complain about that? Everything's going to be fine this year.
And then I did see multiple people say this. Tom Brady took less money to build a team. Okay. So there's a few things there. That is 100% accurate.
You could argue that Patrick Mahomes might have taken less money.
I could see that. But here is the issue with both of those. First of all, I've said it many, many times. I thought the New England Patriots were illegally circumventing the salary cap by forcing people to go to Tom Brady's fake health clinic. But also, Tom Brady had already won a lot. Tom Brady had already seen that his franchise could build a team around him. If you go to Tom Brady and you were the Patriots, you're like, hey, can you give us 10 or 15 million more dollars? Here's what we're going to do with it. And he's like, sounds good. If you go to Dak and say that, what the hell are they going to say? Hey, we've proven nothing. This group right now has not proven, like in terms of the management. You could spare me the 90s because football has evolved since then. This current management group has not proven that they can win anything. So if you went to Dak Prescott and said, we take 10 or $15 million less, and he's like, what are you going to do with it? Well, you know, the salary cap rolls over, so we can really start preparing for 2025. No!
Can't wait. That's what Dak would say. Can't wait. That lets me know that I'm here for another year after that. I know the extension is what it is, but it lets me know that you guys want to help me build something.
What if they put out a promo for next year and it says money for nothing and chicks for free? The 2024 Dallas Cowboys.
It would be...
I don't know that
about
that's
on
not.
brand.
I don't think that's their. I don't think they'll do that.
What do you think? It's a good song.
Yeah, but how many people know Dire Straits?
I don't know. Probably
maybe not on
many.
this
A
station.
lot of dads.
I can come up with some other stations.
A lot of dads that are, driving their kids to school. Like, this is the best band
want
ever.
my DAK.
I'm going to go back to this again.
All right.
Because this argument is what drives me insane. Dak already has plenty of money. Maybe.
And plenty of endorsements off field.
Agreed.
And he's going to make $25 million a year for as many years as he wants calling football games.
Maybe they can't win because they're paying him too much. No. How much money do you actually think Dak Prescott has taken as a cap hit in these years? Everybody sees 4 for 160. So Dak costs $40 million a year. No, because of the way you can manipulate the salary cap. 3 years ago, his salary cap hit $17 million. 2 years ago, 19.7. This last year, 26.8. None of those are exorbitant salary cap numbers for a quarterback. The reason why they can't win is because they just can't win, and Dak is part of that. But I don't think you asking Dak to take a pay cut is what's going to make the difference.
If Dak
I really
took
don't.
league minimum, I bet this team would get better. I bet they'd spend that money.
How much of that money? All of that money?
Most of it.
And how much better do you think? Right now, Dak says, I'll take league minimum. Can they win the Super Bowl?
It would help out tremendously because I do think if he's on a rookie deal, and he doesn't have to do league minimum.
Because that's the way of the league.
But if he was on a rookie deal, the way Brock Purdy's on a rookie deal, I think it helps you out tremendously. He shouldn't do that. I would.
No.
You don't do that. But the thing is I don't think taking a $5 million discount helps out the team at all. Like, hey, instead of me making $55 million, I'll do $50 million. That doesn't help out the team at all. Like that. You have to get extreme with it.
Agreed.
You have to go, I'll go down to 25 to 30 million a year would help the team, but he shouldn't
Why would
do
he
that.
do that? Yeah.